Well, hello there, friends and lovers, and thank you for joining us. This is 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy.
Hello.
Nasir. And you and all you good people. The chat is busy, and I am glad to see that. I know your own Brooke just wrapped up. I'm sure he did that with our show in mind, and he ran out of paid questions too. But
yeah, he looked at his watch and he said, Amy and Robert are coming on. I better go watch them. I gotta go.
That's right. I've told him before, every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, he might as well not bother because you all are here, and we cannot be grateful enough for that. Or maybe we can be exactly grateful enough. Let me just make sure I've got you up here on both Facebook and YouTube. There we go. Life is good. Love it. I want to give a huge shout out to both Jim and Greg who shared the show. Not the earlier announcement, but my last minute one, and that's the best. You know, I always announce the show after 5 p.m. so that I can say, join us live in the chat at the top of the hour, and you all do. And that is enormously appreciated on this fine March 1st, 2026.
Hey, rabbit, if you say that, you get some sort of magical luck power.
Yeah, I bet that works every day, maybe not just on March 1st.
Well, it's the first of the month of every month.
Oh, of every month.
So that means it has to be true. Okay.
I do not doubt you for a moment. There we go. Just increasing my view size on my two chat windows there. So again, yeah, thanks for sharing the show. There have been a few shares of the show lately, both for the live show and after the fact in the podcast. Thank you for that, folks. I do appreciate your help getting the word out there. And the word today is, it's Sunday, March 1st, the 60th day of the year. We're now into the third month. I hope your 2026 is going well. I got to tell you, winter has been a kick in the head here in the Midwest, in Motown.
It's been might chilly.
Yeah. Now, our favorite ice cream shop opened up today, and we did take a walk up there, and then we decided it was too cold. We walked back to the house and drove there instead.
Yes. And I had the s'mores sundae with the graham cracker and marshmallow topping and hot fudge. Stuff. Chocolate ice cream.
Good stuff.
What did you have?
What did I have? What was it? A brownie sundae, warm brownie chocolate sundae.
Brownie sundae with vanilla ice cream.
That's good living right there. Yeah, I know you're all chocolate. I like the contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them both. If you've got a favorite dessert, you know, somebody was saying earlier, I think on an ARC UK show. Yeah, it was. They were talking about yogurt. And yogurt has, well, you got to get no, you can't get the low-fat yogurt. You want the full-fat, because the low-fat yogurt has sugar, and sugar is the devil. I don't think they said the devil, but they talked about it in just those tones. So, folks, if you don't believe sugar is the devil, or if you do, but you can, you know, budget your indulgences, what's your favorite? Favorite from the ice cream shop, your local ice cream shop. Would love to hear that in the chat. Mm-hmm. We have got, speaking of cold days, 299 days until Christmas.
All right.
It's right around, well, you know, we're big fans of A Christmas Carol by Dickens, and by the end of the story, the hero, who, of course, starts out as kind of the bad guy, but no, the hero says he's going to keep Christmas throughout the year. So I'm going to tell you every time we get together.
Yes.
Yeah, because for me personally, it's always Christmas. Halloween is in 244 days. Now, Amy, your second Halloween, Valentine's Day, is now behind us. So I guess we have to start now looking forward again.
Yeah, so what will third Halloween be?
Third Halloween.
Halloween.
What would an ideal third I'm just not as big a Halloween person as Amy.
Well, you know, I actually had third Halloween, I don't know, a year or so ago. I actually had, so in April is my birthday, and I actually ordered up a nice Halloween cake for my birthday.
That's true. You had a Halloween-ish birthday cake. And further proof, as we said during our talk on weekends and holidays, you got to make these things what works for you. Yes. Spring is coming, or autumn if you're south of the equator. We had a New Zealander check in on the socials, and that was fun. So happy autumn to you. But spring is coming in 20 days. March 20th, right around the corner, man.
Yeah.
It is overdue, way overdue.
Yeah, I told Robert that I have to get the, I need to find my special printing of A Secret Garden, which has like all these pop-ups and fun things in the pages. And so I'll find that and we can read that together. It'll be really, really lovely.
Is this like frou-frou enough, this pink napkin that I'm using to keep my coffee hot?
It is so for sure.
I shared a couple weeks ago, there's an objectivist out there saying real men don't wear pink shirts.
Well,
do they use pink napkins?
Pink is actually a masculine color because it is a derivative of red, as we have talked about on the show.
It is. Just like I've told you folks before, and I think you already know, vulnerability is strength.
Yes.
Robert Heinlein pointed out that a man who experiences no fear cannot be brave. He's also a fool. So, same thing there. I had one more. Oh, St. Patrick's Day. It's coming up on March 17th, so 16 days away. And finally, and Greg actually beat me to this, 1,057 days until January 1st, 2029. He shared it in weeks, which sounded a little less daunting.
Wait, how many weeks?
What was it, 150 something? I don't have it in front of me. Greg will tell us in the chat. And 150 something sounds less daunting than 1,057.
That's more doable.
But just reminding myself it will happen. I can deal with the big numbers. You had I had big numbers yesterday. Yeah, we went to a sushi place, and I think it was Mitch Hedberg who said, rice is great for when you want to eat 10,000 of something.
Right.
Love that.
Well, speaking of food, Greg's ice cream of choice is mint chocolate chip, which, by the way, historically, on average, overall, in my entire life, is my favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
You mean through all of the various changes in your life, that has been a constant?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
That's it. Reason is an absolute. Mint chocolate chip is an absolute.
Well, Tom says maple walnut ice cream is incredible. I don't know where you find maple walnut. That's quite a flavor. It sounds like it might be a Ben and Jerry's kind of thing.
Yeah,
something
sounds good.
A little more than your average grocery store freezer ice cream. Oh, we screwed up. Greg says, now I want some mint chocolate chip and it's not in the freezer.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
waiting for something can make it all that much sweeter. Do make sure you grab some on your way.
Oh, and Linda Cordair, chocolate peanut butter.
Is Linda Cordair here? Because I've got it here.
Yeah, she is.
I got to put this up on the screen. I had this ready. Folks, if you have followed Linda on the socials, or if you have followed the artist John Wass on the socials,
yes,
and given the news of the day, which we will actually be talking about, look at this. Now, you can't tell from this little picture, this was snapped out of Linda's Instagram, all of the detail in this, but the reason I mention it is you may be aware that in Iran, in the protests against the caliphate, against the Ayatollah, women have been taking enormously brave actions. And there's a woman who published a picture of her lighting her cigarette using a burning picture of the Ayatollah.
Yeah, it's so good.
And John Wass was inspired by that to paint this work. It is obviously beautiful. Now, some folks might think, and you can't tell because it's a very small picture here, oh, was that, created by AI, or did he use a photograph to do that? Or no, if you want to see how this was done, it's all completely raw, freehand, beautiful. There's a time lapse of it on Linda's Instagram. Do take a look at Linda Cordair's Instagram. And, of course, do follow the link you see on the screen there to Cordair.com, Cordair.com. This piece was auctioned off, and if I read the socials correctly, Jeff Bannister actually was the winner on that.
Jeff Bannister.
So, Jeff, congratulations on that. Is that beautiful and brave and inspiring, or what?
Wow.
Yeah, love it. Love
I mean,
that.
and it's a piece of history, and, I mean, no matter what he paid for it, I mean, it's priceless because it's not only beautiful and so very well done and so very dramatic and absolutely just inspiring, but it's a moment of time that is to be celebrated. So
yeah, art is a projection of a metaphysics. It keeps us in touch with reality and inspires us and gives us emotional fuel. But this one does it directly. Sometimes it's through ordinary events or even extraordinary events, but this one actually shows you the bravery. Oh, wait, Linda Cordair says not sold yet. All right, we'll have to get more detail there.
Okay, all right.
So now that you all have seen that beautiful piece, do go to Cordair.com for more inspiration.
So he posted a bid. So, okay, so go to Cordair.com and post your bid.
Oh, yeah, Linda says still excellent.
And,
outstanding. Well, there's an opportunity right there.
Oh, my gosh,
and again, look on Instagram for that time-lapse video of John painting this piece.
Lovely.
No shortcuts there. Nothing easy about that one. It's a beautiful, just to watch the man at work. Outstanding. Okay, let's go to on this date real quick. Just a couple, but they are relevant. On March 1st, 1692. 1692, what are we talking? Almost 100 years before the American Revolution, the Salem Witch Hunt begins. And I put a link to the Salem witch trials in the show notes, in the description on both YouTube and Facebook. In Salem Village, which we visited.
Yes, we did visit last year.
We went to the last
when
OCON.
we went to OCON in Boston, and we went to Salem, and it was so awesome, and we have to go back.
Now, one thing you don't know, if you've only followed like pop culture versions of this, or if all you know is the great Rush song about it, Witch Hunt. In Salem Village, in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba, an enslaved woman from Barbados, are charged with the illegal practice of witchcraft. Later that day, Tituba, possibly under coercion, confessed to the crime, encouraging authorities to seek out more Salem witches. Thus began the hysteria known as the Salem Witch Hunt. In reading about the Salem witch trials, one of the things that's important to remember, which I don't think people fully appreciated when I was young, at least not a lot of people, or maybe just people who aren't rational or certainly not objectivists, there's no such thing as witches. In all of the Salem witch trials and the Salem witch hunt, there were no actual witch. Nobody was guilty of witchcraft because there is no such thing. Now, there are practices people can engage in that they would call witchcraft. The point is there are no witches. There is no dark magic. It's not a thing. But what a lot of people don't realize is that, there were only dozens of people persecuted, prosecuted, only dozens. There were 19 innocent women and men executed. Some were driven to suicide. Some simply had their lives ruined. Especially when this topic comes up in debates about religion, pro-religious people are very quick to say, oh, it wasn't that many people. And I don't think that's really the point. No. And I am glad that we don't have those kinds of witch hunts anymore. We just have metaphorical witch hunts.
Yeah. And
nice.
Yes. So cool.
Excuse me, a little cough there.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of witch hunts, there were actually more in Europe. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but yeah, Europe outdid the Salem witch trials in the colonial British colonial area of what do we call ourselves? The British colonies. Yeah, and yeah. But yeah, we have more to kind of, I don't know if we're going to go deeply into politics tonight, or if we're just going to kind of pepper it, here and there as a little spice. Yes. Right away, Stephen Katz has a question I would love to answer, and I will get to it. But that's going to require a little different context, which will be coming. Yes, absolutely. Love that. Oh, but real quick, okay. Witch hunt. We go from the Salem witch hunts right to 1973, because today is Dark Side of the Moon Day. Now, Amy, you're not a Pink Floyd fan, are you? No. I've never really got into them.
Despite the fact that Dark Side of the Moon was on the Billboard 200 chart, not for a week, not for a few weeks, not for a lot of weeks, for 937 weeks. Is record-breaking. This is over 18 years.
Yeah.
That this was on the Billboard 200 chart.
Although I do give David Gilmour some respect in finding Kate Bush as an artist and helping her career along. as he did. So
Well,
that was cool.
If you're going to give out props that way, you may also appreciate the success of the album brought wealth to all four members of the band. Richard Wright and Roger Waters bought large country houses, and Nick Mason became a collector of upmarket cars. I mentioned that from an article on it because it amuses me that they wrote a song called Money, which was not complimentary about money, and yet that same album made them all very, very wealthy. The groups were fans of the British comedy troupe Monty Python, and as such, some of the profits were invested in the production of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We've mentioned before that George Harrison was one of the saviors of that film, and Pink Floyd did as well. Because Dark Side of the Moon was so successful, they were able to do that. It was also a huge launch for Alan Parsons, a engineer on the album, and eventually he went on to create the Alan Parsons Project. So happy
very nice.
Dark Side of the Moon Day. Now, we went to switch our calendar, not our Quent Cordair Fine Art calendar, but another one in the house, and it came out looking like this. Now, some of you might not know that binkies are the word to describe a kind of jumping around that rabbits do, that jumping around doesn't really describe it, so we have a special word, binkies. So there you go, Binky Floyd. That, of course, is a parody of the Uma Guma album cover. And I had to laugh out loud because they chose March for this calendar, and March 1st is Dark Side of the Moon Day. They could have parodied Dark Side of the Moon instead, but really, because of binkies, I think that was the right choice. Very, very sweet.
Yeah, that calendar is actually produced by, I want to say it's the Rabbit Rescue of Minnesota. And they actually use their own bunnies who are up for adoption in the calendars. So as you can see, those bunnies were up for adoption. Hopefully they already have homes.
Gotta love that.
Yep.
Now, one of the reasons why I want to mention Dark Side of the Moon is because Amy is not a Pink Floyd fan. And yet, when we have, in our various rock and roll bands and friends that we play with, played Pink Floyd songs, Amy, you've been surprisingly willing to play along.
Yeah.
And it happened that recently, one of the guys in the chat, Steven there, had asked in a recent, I think on a Yarn Brook Show chat, well, what about relationships where men and women want different things? Isn't there always going to be some element of sacrifice? And I can see why you would ask the question. I think his example was, the women want to go to the opera and the guys want to do, I don't know if he said, well, guys don't want to do anything. They just want to stay home and watch sports. Whatever it is guys want. I don't know what guys want to do. I always want to do the things Amy wants to do. But I do want to listen to Pink Floyd, and Amy does not. Mm-hmm. And how do you make that work? And it turns out that that's an obvious example of, well, you listen to Pink Floyd when you're on your own or in the car or someplace where she's not going to hear it. Mm-hmm. And vice versa, which with whatever music that she likes listening to.
Yes.
There are real conflicts. There are real challenges. Things you might want to do not alone. So if I go along to a concert, I'm going to go with Amy to go see Morrissey, lead singer of the Smiths. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you a single song Morrissey ever did. I could only tell you one or maybe two songs the Smiths ever did. Why would I go see a show of somebody I'm totally not interested in? Isn't that a sacrifice? But look at it this way. Consider this question this way. Imagine if Amy and I were not married for decades. If we had just started dating, we were totally smitten, Twitter-pated, taken with one another. Well, it's not that I would go along to a concert I don't like because I have ulterior motives. Mm. It's just that if I'm in love and I'm with somebody who is loving something she's doing, loving that show, loving the concert, loving the experience, loving being dressed up, out at a show, doing the things you do when you go out, that's a good time. Even if the music isn't, even if the artist isn't. And I would hope that that would be the case with anything you would do where you make, let's call it an investment, or it's just simply a choice to do something that wouldn't normally be your first choice. Incidentally, Morrissey, it turned out to be an amazing concert. kind of a shame that I didn't know any of the music, but he is enormously entertaining. And you wouldn't necessarily have guessed that if you know his music or his public statements. Surprisingly good in concert.
Oh, he's so good.
But there have been shows I've gone to with you, Amy, that I didn't really enjoy, but I enjoyed being there with you.
Yes, you did. You did. And yeah, there are a lot of things that I like that Robert will never listen to. I don't think he will ever sit down and say, I think I'll spend the evening listening to No Means No albums.
Well, there will even be, there will be sort of inroads there, ways in, like you will karaoke some strange song by Kate Bush that I would never have listened to. But, watching you sing it, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm still actually working on, tell me in the chat if you have ever challenged yourself to sing a Kate Bush song, whether you're female or male. I challenged myself on Wuthering Heights, the one Kate Bush song, and boy, the phrasing of those lyrics are really difficult, but it's so rewarding.
Yeah, and the melody is no mean feat either.
No.
It is up and down. And...
So, by the way, Roberto's in the chat. He just PM'd me a picture of a couple of the members of the Sex Pistols back in the 70s wearing a I Hate Pink Floyd t-shirt. Here, I'll show Robert real quick.
Harsh, but very punk rock.
So
definitely very punk rock. At least historically, punk rock hated progressive rock to the nth degree, and Pink Floyd were that meeting place of progressive rock and classic rock, and punk rockers hated that stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously not all of them did, but yes, it's perfect t-shirt. Despite the fact that I think Pink Floyd at their best were awesome. I don't love everything they did. I've never actually listened to that album, Umaguma. Maybe I've heard it more than...
Maybe we should listen to it together and see how we react.
Yeah, let's have the news handy. I mean, the mute button handy.
I'll be like, skip to the next one.
But I still think Dark Side of the Moon really is one of the greatest albums ever produced.
I love that for you.
Yes. And there we go. A few birthdays to celebrate today. Oh, I'm sorry.
Real quick.
Related concept?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier this morning about how it's not a sacrifice.
Yes.
Because if I take you or you take me to a concert that either one respectively doesn't particularly like, I'd love to see your face light up when you experience your values.
That's exactly the point we were making, yes.
And that is the kind of thing that I love. I love to see Robert happy, and Robert likes to see me happy. And so it's not a sacrifice at all. As a matter of fact, it's a spiritual value that you can't get anywhere else, that's unrepeatable, that you can't find anywhere else. And it should definitely be cherished and should never be called a sacrifice. And for those people who are like, I love a sacrifice, well, you know what? Screw you, because it's not. And, well, not only that, but you have to understand what spiritual values are and emotional fuel that you get out of the loved one that you're with.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to understand that. I think you just have to experience it.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to get too deep into it to realize there's an old expression, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Right.
And we've done whole episodes on that. There are better ways to put that. Obviously, we can read you Ayn Rand's quote about that. But I also go back to Robert Heinlein, who said, love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. Now, it's not that you make a bunch of sacrifices or even go through a bunch of hard, difficult things because you want the other person to be happy. It's that their happiness actually makes you happy. Mm-hmm. That you are actually happy. Maybe not because of the restaurant you went to or the concert that you saw that they really wanted, but just watching them in a state of pleasure gives you pleasure. If you're not getting that out of a relationship, might want to think twice about how you are experiencing it. Not necessarily, I better leave the relationship because she's not making me feel that. You may just be able to change your own thinking on the matter, your own perspective, and get so much more out of it than you are.
Yes.
Change the genders, ladies, for however you want to look at that.
Yes. And as you were saying, this date in history or something like that, what was next?
Well, real quick, it's the birth date of Sandro Botticelli.
Sandro.
Did I say Sandra? Mm-hmm. Now I'm thinking of the women. It is Sandro Botticelli's birthday, the great painter, sculptor, everything. Everybody was everything back in the 1500s.
There's so many people was so cool back then in the 1500s.
Yes, well, I may have got the name wrong, but Sandro Botticelli was not born Sandro Botticelli. He was actually born Alessandro di Mariano di Vanni Filippi. You think I would have said that a few times before we went live. And even the birth date is in dispute, circa March 1st, 1445. There's a great video about Sandro Botticelli, and the link is in the YouTube description. But yeah, obviously, when I think of Botticelli, I think Birth of Venus. The great Birth of Venus, coming out of the clamshell painting. Hold me, I'm going to put this up here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Muted there.
I love how you show
nipples today.
I thought you were just showing off your iPad.
I was. Look at this
cool.
Look at this great 9-year-old iPad here that is really wigging out, and I need to buy the latest and greatest because the battery is just about shot. Now, I've got allergies today.
Yeah, you do.
I took a second Claritin before the show.
Oh.
I never take 2 of anything.
Whoa, you better take an Airborne.
I thought of that because on the ARC UK this morning, they were talking about supplements. I forget, L-lycopene, something that apparently all the boys take. And somebody said, somebody said they think they accidentally took 2 of them. And I thought, there is nothing over the counter where if you accidentally take 2 instead of 1, it's going to be bad for you. They were worried about that. And then I thought, wait a minute, antihistamines. Take 2 of those instead of 1. I'm gone. I am knocked out. So we'll see if we make it through the end of this show. Even though Claritin is supposed to be non-drowsy, 2 of those will wig me out. So we'll see how that goes. Happy birthday to Botticelli. Let's jump forward. It's Frederick Chopin's birthday.
Oh, how very nice.
The great Polish pianist. I didn't realize that Polonaise was a Polish form of music, but it makes perfect sense once you hear it. If you are not a fan of Chopin, it's also the birthday of Glenn Miller.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, Glenn Miller, who unfortunately only lived to be 40 years old, at least as far as we know. We don't really know, because Glenn Miller, besides being an orchestra leader and a trombonist himself, and, famous for In the Mood and Moonlight Serenade, he was an army band guy, and he had an army band gig in France when he was touring England, and his flight across the channel was canceled, and he changed flights, and he finally got on an airplane, and nobody knew, incidentally, that he had changed flights, so it took a while to figure all this out, and he disappeared. As far as anybody can figure out, he got on the flight, plane took off, and that was it.
Yeah,
it's assumed that
he went off to go find Amelia Earhart.
Yes, he was in the mood to go find Amelia Earhart.
Yes.
And people assume that he crashed in the English Channel, but nobody actually knows.
Nobody knows.
So maybe he died at 40, or maybe not. Now, somebody who once famously said, "I hope I die before I get old," or rather sang that, Roger Daltrey is 82 years old today, so he did not get his wish. He is still with us, above ground. And I guess he doesn't actually sing, "I hope I die before I get old." He said he changed the lyrics. I forget what to.
Well, there was originally that way, right?
Yeah.
In the recorded music.
Yes. That's why I had to link to the song My Generation. I wonder how we rewrite that song at 82. Happy birthday to Roger Daltrey. It's Ron Howard's birthday.
Oh, how nice.
He's got to be like 14 or 15 by now. I always think of him as Opie, Andy Griffith.
No.
Talk about a successful career. He's Opie on Andy Griffith. Okay, child actor. And then he becomes Richie Cunningham.
Yeah, that's right.
Just amazing career. Yeah, along with Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yeah, Henry
on
Winkler.
Happy Days. And Happy Days ran for years. And then he becomes a good director and directs amazing films.
Yeah.
So Ron Howard is 72 years old today.
Not only that, but for all accounts, from what I understand, he's a nice person.
He's a nice guy.
Nice guy. He should have been Canadian.
Yeah.
But, he missed his chance.
Well, speaking of somebody who is Canadian, Justin Bieber is 32 years old today.
Oh, gosh.
And My notes here said Justin Bieber released songs like Baby, Sorry, and What Do You Mean? I don't actually mean that I know anything at all about Justin Bieber, but he is Canadian, so I'm sure he's a nice guy. And
Yeah,
he
I'm
is
sure he's a
32
nice
years
guy.
old today.
As a matter of fact, from London, Ontario. Actually, we have friends in London, Ontario, as a matter of fact.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hello. But yeah, Justin Bieber.
I can pay Justin Bieber a compliment.
Yeah.
Because people I respect like Justin Bieber. And besides, today is World Compliment Day.
Yes. Looking through that lens on the other side there, you're all looking really good.
You look marvelous.
I love what you've done to your hair, everybody.
Give me a head with hair. Don't get me started on that, but yes. And so it is that day in which I've got to read the Leonard Peikoff quote. I absolutely have to do this.
Yeah, this is the Leonard Peikoff quote, everybody.
Leonard Peikoff has said about 1,000 amazing things that you absolutely need to know and hear and integrate into your lives. But even before he wrote about this in his chapter on justice in OPAR, Objectivism, the Philosophy of Ayn Rand, he said this in his lecture, Objectivism and the Moral Foundations of Government. People often think that justice consists of only punishing or condemning the evil, while remaining neutral or indifferent toward people who are good. Dr. Peikoff goes on. Now, this view stems from the idea that evil is metaphysically potent and fear-inspiring, whereas the good is impractical and yawn-invoking.
Yeah.
I love that expression he uses, yawn-invoking. The good, Okay, back to Leonard Peikoff. On the objectivist view, however, it is, if anything, more important to praise and reward the good
Yes.
than to condemn the evil. To speak up and to fight for the men who are right and who represent rational values. Granted, the evil must be fought and condemned, but then brushed aside. What counts in life, and this is the issue of the potency of virtue, what counts in life is the good. They are the men who create the values life requires. They are the men mankind relies on. They are the men whose virtues and achievements must be acknowledged above all. If justice is a virtue, and if life is the standard. So, it is important to tell Plato, for instance, that he is wrong. But it is more important that Aristotle hears somebody who recognizes that he is right.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that James Taggart not get away with the fraud that he runs Taggart Transcontinental. But it is more important that Reardon find someone who can understand what he is achieving. The first duty of justice is to acknowledge and defend the good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a better passage to read on World Compliments Day.
Yes.
Because we sometimes catch ourselves criticizing more often than we praise or recognize or celebrate simple goodness.
Yes.
And I say that on purpose, simple goodness.
Right.
Now, we absolutely need to venerate, heroes, bravery, amazing people, or people who create and produce amazing things, like John Wass has with his recent painting. But simple goodness, people who live their lives well, who do their jobs well, who make things happen, whether on an enormous, world scale or just ordinary day-to-day lives. doing their 9 to 5, being productive, making things happen, keeping the wheels of the world turning. That's the stuff. And if you're doing that, if you're doing any of that, if you're doing that in your own life, if you're doing it in your own home, if you're maintaining a house, a living space, if you are raising your children, if you are helping people that you know and care about, you are wonderful. Now, I know there's a risk of taking modest achievements and overpraising them and then not really appreciating the heroes in the world. The great doers, the great businessmen, the people who create things on an enormous scale. I don't think we have to worry about anybody in our audience making that mistake. And I don't mean to put any guilt on anybody who doesn't praise people enough. Because just like we talked about in answering Stephen's interesting question about couples, the main reason to praise, to compliment, to reward both enormous virtue and everyday virtue is not out of a feeling that, well, I've got to be just, I better do. No, it's for your own sake.
Yes.
Paying people compliments is in your self-interest.
Yes.
And not your long-term self-interest. No, just, it's a good thing. It feels good. It leads to good things. It provides you values. It reinforces the primacy of values. Mm-hmm. Linda Cordair knows this better than anybody. We're here to live a life and not just to not die. And that means doing things, creating things, experiencing things, giving things, receiving things. And things, I don't necessarily mean material values. No, kindred spirits are invaluable. And they're not, as Anne Shirley would remind us, so rare as one might think.
That's true. Yeah, I complimented a couple of people in this past week, and it was really nice to do that. Yeah, actually, Gary's in the chat. I complimented you, and I know it sounded kind of strange, but I'm like, I just got to compliment Gary because he's awesome. It's just an objective fact of reality, and we're going to be seeing him in Ocon in New Orleans, and it's going to be such a fun time. I mean, I can't wait. I am half my brain is already in New Orleans trying to think about what I'd like to do because it's going to be so good. Anyway, but yeah, Gary's a stand-up guy for sure.
Yes, and
I think I complimented Felix, I believe, as well. He wrote something that I appreciated, and he writes these very long introspective posts that are pretty compelling, and I really enjoy listening or reading them. And they're not heavily philosophical. Some of them are more than that, but it's really nice. So I let him know. So if you're on the Facebooks, go on Facebook and tell somebody that you like what you like about them, and just or just keep it general.
Right.
Just let them know that you're thinking of them, and you really appreciate what they do, or what they say, or what they write, or how they live their lives, or what kind of bunnies they like, perhaps. Whatever it may be. It's nice.
Yes. Stephen asks an interesting question that relates to this, even though he asked it before we even started talking about it. I will make the point that anything you could say relates to this issue because, well, I've been saying for years, values are primary, and too many of us don't appreciate that fact. Again, building a house is a whole different thing than knocking one down. And life is about building houses. The people who come around to knock them down or to make you pay taxes on them or anything else destructive, they need to be dealt with. But they are the small part of the picture. So, Stephen asks, in Aristotle's virtue of honesty, what are the two poles which the right amount of honesty comes in between in the golden mean? Which the right amount of honesty comes in between in the golden mean. I have been told, I'm not an expert on Aristotle, but I have been told that there's a misinterpretation of the golden mean. The idea that nothing should be in excess, everything should be a mean between two poles. If Aristotle said that, I think it was a mistake. So, for example, in this case, in the virtue of honesty, should you be brutally honest, what they call radical honesty? Or should you indulge in white lies? If classic example is, does this dress make me look fat?
Right.
One common example with Aristotle is boastfulness is an excess of pride, arrogant, bragging about yourself, braggadociousness. But too little pride would be self-deprecating, false modesty. Well, it's false modesty, it's not modesty. And the point is, it's a false alternative. Neither one of those things are pride. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, radical honesty is not honesty. It is not radical honesty to say, I'm going to ignore context completely and say whatever I think, regardless of context, out of context, to say brutal or horrible things for no reason other than, and I think what it comes down to is, I can get away with it because I told people I'm going to be radically honest. No, I think context is everything. Literally, it's everything that informs a given situation. And so my answer to that would be, what is the right amount of honesty? The right amount of honesty is total honesty, but not so-called radical or out of context honesty. Mm-hmm. I asked the internet, and it said, well, in Aristotle's Golden Mean, this is the middle ground where an individual accurately represents themselves, their accomplishments, and their truths, avoiding both exaggeration and unnecessary concealment. Unquote. But that formulation there, again, tells you, no, Aristotle, if he thought of it that way, got it wrong, or at least was being simplistic. Mm-hmm. Because exaggeration, well, that's not honesty. And the other supposed pole of unnecessary concealment or unnecessary modesty, that's not honest either. No, the right amount of honesty is honesty.
I mean, it sounds like you're applying the idea of a cookbook to virtues. Like, half a teaspoon of paprika and all this. Yeah, sounds kind of like they're trying to go for something intrinsic there. What you got?
Just Greg says, I didn't get to be this old by answering questions like that. Greg, you actually did. Oh. Because you've been confronted with that kind of stuff. And a long time ago, you said, true. Not just, oh, that's stupid, but also, yeah, I know the answer to that. And it's obvious, and I don't need to care about that. The things that we are dismissive about, or if we're doing it rationally, are things we answered a long time ago, and we're just not going to get caught up in that particular tempest in a teapot over again. So I would dispute the idea that you didn't get old answering questions like that. You got old precisely because you know when a question isn't worth answering, and because you knew you had an answer. You had an answer to that, I am sure, absolutely. Yeah,
and the way that you characterized Aristotle just now, coming up with just the right amount of honesty, I have to go back and ask, why be honest in the first place? So that you can properly represent yourself to other people. That's a secondary issue. Honesty and fundamental living as a human being in terms of what your nature is, the nature of your conceptual consciousness, the nature of understanding the reality around you. Honesty is being honest with yourself first, and that, of course, that bleeds into integrity as well. But honesty is something that you do to make yourself happy and to make sure that you are basing your actions on what's real, and also your inner thoughts on what's real as well, and being objective about yourself. Worrying about how you're portraying yourself to other people is, I don't know. It's that's
well, it's aura farming.
Aura farming.
Yeah, somebody in the chat earlier mentioned aura farming.
As opposed to body farming. No,
no. It's really as opposed to virtue signaling. It's a way of cultivating an aura. of increasing your riz. Which, if folks have heard the word riz and don't know, it's basically short for charisma.
Yes.
And yeah, well, I kind of admire aura farming, or at least I loathe the aura farming less than virtue signaling. Although, shouldn't you signal your virtue if you have virtues?
Yes, you should.
And obviously, the idea here.
Ben Bear had something to say about virtue signaling that I really appreciate. That now it's not coming up. But
well, the problem is people are accused of virtue signaling when they're simply practicing their virtues, and other people think, "Oh my God, you're being good so loudly that I feel bad about it." And I don't mean literally loudly, just. Oh my God, don't be so good.
Yeah, don't be an affront to my lesser standards.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the idea of aura farming. I think charisma is a challenge. And it doesn't come naturally for some of us. We have to do things to kind of, it goes back to the whole introversion, extroversion, and what it takes to be attractive. And work on the voice, that's right.
Aura farming is the act of repeatedly performing stylish or confident actions to boost one's aura, a vibe, charisma, or social status. I guess it's in relation to social media and TikTok and all of that, and how you're, I don't know, presenting yourself while you're being live streamed like we are right now. I don't know, am I aura farming? I'm not sure.
Yes. What else have I missed in the chat? Akira reminds us that Pete Townsend actually wrote the song My Generation, not Daltrey, which was true of much of what The Who did. And so no surprise there. What else have I missed in the chat that I should address? Great conversations going on.
Yes.
As always. And Paul, of course, reminds us Ron Howard was a child actor in the Twilight Zone episode, Walking Distance. Paul is at least compared to some of us, an expert on Twilight Zone episodes. So
and Outer Limits.
And Outer Limits, and and such things.
Yep.
And what else may I have missed?
Well, Jim Ashley is over in the comments on Facebook.
Yes.
So that's pretty good.
Yes.
He tells me that I'm not alone in not particularly enjoying Pink Floyd. But
a lot of people don't, but a lot of people do.
Yes.
Yes. And, I remember getting into Ayn Rand and Ayn Rand's philosophy and eventually objectivism proper. And there was a not small contingent of people in our local group who would argue that rock and roll was not a valid form of music.
Right.
Ayn Rand didn't seem to be a fan, and certainly some forms of music she referred to as, I don't know, jungle rhythms or something.
Yeah.
Without the obvious racist overtones. This is way back in the 60s before rap music. No, she just thought rock and roll was
kind of mind deadening.
Mind deadening, yeah. It was not good. And so the guys that would hang out, it was always the guys. I don't know if any women argued that rock and roll was not a valid style of music, but no, they would say, well, the obvious fact, the checkmate on all of you is when they would crank up the amps on electric guitars to the point that they were distorted.
Yes.
Distorted. If they're distorted right there, that's a distortion of reality. It's a distortion of virtue. It's
death premise.
Yeah, the death premise. You are functioning on a death premise.
Oh, I have no pearls.
Yes.
I have no pearls to clutch.
Incidentally, if any of you are taken in by the idea that rock music, because it doesn't have the elevated qualities of classical music, reconsider that in the context of past pop music. And I don't mean pop music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s now. I mean, go back to, say, what Ayn Rand used to call tiddlywink music.
Yes.
And tell me what is objectively more valid about that. Simple music, folk songs from back then, from the 1800s or early 1900s, than similar music now. Now, I would certainly say I like some music better than others, and I'll even say some music is objectively better than other music. but I'm going to be the last person to tell you that your taste in music is somehow invalid. And I would have to know what you
Canceled.
like. Not just what
Loser.
you like, but why you like it, what you get from it, what your experiences are in it. There's a whole topic there.
No.
I'm not saying it's all arbitrary. I'm not saying it's all subjective. Some music definitely is better than other music. But your experience of music is much more complicated than that.
Well, here's something very controversial. Ayn Rand did not like Beethoven or Mozart. And the most controversial part of all of that is that I don't either. Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
Yeah, well, those of you who heard Yaron Brooke talking to Tara Smith the other night, I think it came up in the Q&A that Ayn Rand didn't like Beethoven. And is there something wrong with that? And Yaron said, no, she objective analysis of Beethoven, but Yaron said he loves Beethoven, probably his favorite classical composer. And he gets it. He gets why Ayn Rand didn't like it. And yet, in his context, he has every reason to enjoy it. Music is more complicated than just an malevolent sense of life, benevolent sense of life.
Right. Or minor key, major key.
Yeah, much more complicated than that.
Or the fast rhythm or slow rhythm.
And I'm the last person to, claim to be a genius about it, because I think all music should be in major keys.
Yeah.
He says jokingly, everybody knowing that he also likes Pink Floyd.
Yes.
The point is, it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And we can have that discussion sometime, although not necessarily on the show.
Yes.
Good. Jim is recommending Hamnet. This is totally off topic, but I have to leave soon. And I just wanted to give a plug for the movie Hamnet, starring Paul Mescal as William Shakespeare and Jessie Buckley as Agnes, or Anne Hathaway. It's one of the most values-focused movies I've seen in the theater in the past 10 years. It's not any particular values that make the characters hold that make it so. It's simply the fact that the story is very focused on how the people in it do hold important values. The fact of valuing itself. Another thing I like, he goes on, another thing I like in the film is the period detail. Everything seemed real. Also, the cinematography, because of the lighting, is outstanding. Well, we'll look into that. I had decided that, at least according to the reviews, there was just going to be too much tragedy in it for me, but maybe not. Maybe I'll need to give that another thought. I'm at a point in my life where sad endings, even if they're empowering, even if they are elevating, even if they give you, you love the hero because he fights even though he loses. And I mean, this isn't that kind of film, but that stuff is not, it wears heavily on me. And so. Steven says, I did not like Marty Supreme. Did you? I haven't seen it.
No, this is a Timothy Chalamet sports movie.
Yeah, it also didn't seem like my kind of thing. I guess he's the fanatic for table tennis, I think.
Maybe.
And
pickleball.
Pickleball. Oh,
I don't know. We don't know enough about it. We've never talked about this.
Now that's interesting. Gary says the Romantic Manifesto is the most easily grasped nonfiction by Rand for me. Wow.
You know what? Another awesome point to you, Gary, because that was the same feeling that I had. And then you went on to say he never felt conflicted that I knew Rand would decry my personal music and art tastes, but it was good for me. I didn't feel that Ayn Rand would jump out of her grave and start yelling at me.
Well, Gary gets it. No. Obviously, Gary didn't just read the Romantic Manifesto. He actually gets it.
Yes.
And there are reasons why different forms of art and different forms of music resonate with us.
Yes. And that's my favorite nonfiction writing of Ayn Rand is the Romantic Manifesto, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Austin conference that focused on it was...
Cleveland.
Was that Cleveland?
It was.
That was an amazing
so
time.
Good. Yeah, and Greg Salmieri talked about personal values, and it was great.
Oh, that's right. It had to have been Cleveland because we had Larry there, and we had Carrie there, just some great people, some great Southeast Michigan people came to participate in it. Sean was there too, wasn't he, for like part of it?
Yeah.
I think half of it.
Yeah.
What an Ocon. Although we'll see, New Orleans could be the Ocon to beat.
I think it's already like a foregone conclusion for me.
Cleveland was pretty amazing. sitting out on the patio playing guitars and singing. And
There's a so at the Sheraton for OCon this year, there's a rooftop pool that they have at the Sheraton, and I'm so looking forward to
Be up there with the
that.
guitars, yeah. Yeah, incidentally, folks, we should share this with you real quick. Just take a quick moment to say, if you're going to OCon, the Ayn Rand Objectivist annual conference, if you haven't already reserved your rooms, do look at the rates that ARI has negotiated for rooms. But before you book and before you use their code,
Yeah.
call the hotel directly, or even go through Expedia, go through one of the
Or Orbit
travel
or one
services.
of these places, yeah.
See what kind of price you can get doing it directly. It may really substantially beat the rates that ARI negotiated before.
Yeah, in New Orleans, not only do you have taxes and fees, but you have taxes on the fees. So you want to make sure that you're getting a good rate, because that's going to be eating up a lot of your money.
Yeah. Yeah, or even if it wasn't for that, it's still, if you can save a few $100s just by going a different route and staying in the exact same place, why not? Why not? Yes. Stephen, our law expert, says, are you guys going to follow the birthright citizenship issue before the Supreme Court? The short answer is yes and no. I'll stay aware of how it comes out, but I do not know the details and probably won't be following it. If there is anything interesting about it you can share with us, both on the show and on the socials, by all means, let us know. I do hope that it comes out well, but I am not an expert on the topic.
Yeah, I mean, it is written in the Constitution as the 14th Amendment. So it really depends on how constitutional the Supreme Court feels.
Well, it's going to get into interpretation. The reason the 14th Amendment was passed was during abolition.
Yes.
So it was originally in reference to slavery in America. And the way that the 14th Amendment is used now that that's no longer an issue, some would argue, and we'll see if the Supreme Court argues, is not just not the intention of the 14th Amendment, but not even what the 14th Amendment means. So we'll see how that goes. I hope that they do not quash birthright citizenship just based on my own convictions about the issue. But as far as the actual constitutionality, I would think that it was solid, but I thought that about Roe versus Wade too.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, for the years in the future ahead of us, I really think that we need to make it a point and talk with our friends in the Democrat Party, especially
if you have any friends in the Democrat Party.
I do. Or the ACLU or whatever it may be, and just make the case for phasing out Social Security and entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, and all that, because that I really think that that's the sticking point with regard to this immigration issue for people who are semi-rational. I don't know. Perhaps that it's not that all immigrants are murderers. Of course not. But a lot of people are not. They feel somehow that that immigrants coming in are basically taking up all of the entitlement money, and that's why we are almost $40 trillion in debt, which is completely untrue, and there's no truth to that whatsoever. But that's the going thought on that, I think, for a lot of people.
Record breaking. Our government has the best. We're the best at raising the debt. Nobody else like me can raise the debt.
Yes.
Look at the national debt from 2016 to 2020, and from 2024 to now. Nobody. It's huge.
I mean, $10 trillion almost in his first term. Imagine what we're going to end up with now. I mean, 50 trillion?
You got to break a few fiscal records if you want to make an omelet or something.
Right. Anyway.
So what has all this got to do with war in Iran?
Well, first of all, before you get into that, I want to mention that in 1973, not only did Pink Floyd come out with Dark Side of the Moon, but The War Powers Resolution of 1973 was enacted as a federal law restricting the president's power to commit armed forces without congressional consent, and requiring notification within 48 hours and troop withdrawal within 60 to 90 days unless authorized by Congress. So that's what we're kind of working under this assumption now. And I don't know, since we don't really have a Congress right now, I'm not entirely sure how this is all going to pan out. But 1973, there you are.
Yeah, I don't know what Rob Trzynski's going to do if he wins a seat on the House of Representatives, because it seems like Congress doesn't do anything anymore. Well, he will. He will do something.
Yes.
Incidentally, folks, thank you for watching that episode. If you haven't seen it yet, we did an interview with Rob Trzynski last week. Mm-hmm. And it's already got a large number of views, twice as many as most of our episodes. And it's good to see. Absolutely. Yeah, I have been listening to Yaron Brook talk about the war. He's done some great episodes, including a very early morning episode yesterday. I've been listening to the folks at the Ayn Rand Center UK talk about the war in Iran, or Iran. I'm in America, I should say Iran. I ran so far. Oh, wait. Oh, that parody video. Oh my God. No, I'm not even going to get into that. And it's been interesting because there are people in the community, whether they call themselves objectivists or not, who are in favor of the war. And there are people who are against the war on constitutional grounds, believing the War Powers Act still does not give the president the right to unilaterally, well, I was going to say declare war, but have we declared war?
No.
To unilaterally get into a war, to take war actions. Russia, in particular, is upset because one thing we don't do, even in wartime, is that we don't assassinate leaders of other nations. That's something you don't do. It's a precedent-setting action. And the idea is if you do that, then, everybody's going to start, we're not going to go to war with the country, we're just going to try to kill all their big shots. Granted, Iran already had a plot. It was a failed plot, but still they had a plot to assassinate Donald Trump.
Yes.
So,
and many other people.
Turnabout is fair play, and, sorry on them if we happen to be better at those things than they are. We being the United States, I know we have a worldwide audience, so I should be more clear about that. Amy, what are your thoughts? Or do you have any thoughts yet on the war against Iran?
Well, Bill Clinton comes out and they have a closed-door session with regard to the Epstein files, the Trump Epstein files, I should call them. And he says, I know nothing, or that's what they claim that he said. I am not entirely sure about that, but this really raises my hackles with regard to all of the distractions that...
I'm sorry, what have the Epstein files got to do with the question of war in Iran?
Oh, it's just the timing of it.
Are we suggesting that this could be a wag the dog moment?
Yes.
That the purpose of the war, or at least let's not say the purpose, the timing of the war
is aiding the fact that there's this other issue that now there's no room for in the news headlines, or it doesn't take priority for members of Congress to even deal with now, because now we are at war.
Linda Cordair said she had to run off, but she's back. What did she miss? Linda, we're talking about war. We've decided to jump on that band. No, we've decided to address the big issue of the day.
What is it good for?
Is it absolutely nothing? Say it again. No, where was I? Oh, yeah. What have we been talking? I don't remember how we got here, but I knew we were headed here. Yeah, the news of the day.
You were asking me about.
So I was asking you, what do you think of the war? And you mentioned Bill Clinton and the possibility that there's a
there's a distraction,
intentional distraction. Wag the dog, get away from the Epstein files.
Yeah, and So, and I thought about it, in terms of who Donald Trump is, why is he doing this? What is motivating this?
And you see, we had that conversation, and there's all these reasons why some people think it's a good thing, but you keep falling back on, but it's Donald Trump.
What does the commander-in-chief think is the reason why we're doing this? And he hasn't been terribly clear. He's kind of given the neocon perspective of there are people suffering on Iran, and they've been suffering for many years, and we need to depose this evil leader. Yippee, let's do it.
Well, what about the better answer, which he did include in his 8-minute speech, that they started it.
History and 47 years
took our people hostage. They've killed countless people in our bases, and
4 decades where the United States of America has failed to protect itself from this regime that has murdered Americans many times.
And even though most of the 9/11 terrorists came from Saudi Arabia, still Iran has been the state sponsor of terrorism.
Yes.
And you might argue that 9/11 would not have happened but for Iran.
Pretty obvious after 4 decades of them chanting "Death to America" constantly. There is a valid reason for this. But
so my point is, even if the distracting aspect of it was there, I can't imagine that was the major element.
Yeah, I think
it's more the fame and glory of being the man who took down a country that needed to be taken down, or rather a leadership of a country that needed to be taken down.
So he didn't kill Maduro, but he jailed Maduro from Venezuela, and now Venezuela has somebody else that
Maduro's second in command.
Trump may like better, perhaps. And so I thought to myself, what is he really doing? We know that he's a social metaphysician. We know that he is constantly, the only thing that he is smart at is trying to understand how people are viewing him, what his polls are, what people's perspective on him is, how he can manipulate that, and avoid facts and appeal to emotion and appeal to that kind of make America great sense of life that a lot of people give reason as to why they support him, which is completely unemotional terms. So he's such a heinous scoundrel. He'll go around looking at the world and say, who's worse than I am? Maybe if I take them out, I'll look better in comparison.
Okay, I get that angle, and I agree with it. But I think there's
more to it.
I think that's one element that needs to be considered. And folks, if that sounds like an exaggeration, I'll consider this.
Yeah.
And I've said this way back in both of the previous elections. Imagine this for a second. Imagine if Donald Trump had access to the means to save America, and whatever you think that looks like. Return us to a free economy, resolve the national debt, bring back liberty, whatever it is.
Deregulate.
If Donald Trump could save America, but the way that he could do it, the way it would have to happen, would mean that nobody would ever know that he was responsible, that he would never get the credit. Do you think he would do it, or would he let the country burn? I think he would let the country burn. If it meant the spotlight was never on him, he never got the glory, he wouldn't bother. He wouldn't walk across the street to save this country if it didn't redound to his fame and glory.
It would burn to a crisp. And this is the clown show that we're dealing with in the state of politics in America right now.
And I think even a lot of his fans can recognize from that hypothetical, yeah. And they don't mind, because they think that his vaingloriousness is a good thing because it leads him to do good things. He's not going to do bad things to try to get famous. He's just going to do good things to try to be, and to put more billions of dollars into his own personal coffers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at here is that I think I know a lot of objectivists are on Facebook right now debating these issues. Well, what is the rational perspective? What is the moral perspective? What's the constitutional perspective? What is the perspective that will give us insight into, keeping America as a free country in the future, and not giving the executive branch so much power. And I get all of that. There's a lot of nuances here. And so a lot of things that I've been expressing on Facebook, which hasn't been a lot, but I'm trying to be as nuanced as possible. And I think it is absolutely rational or appropriate to say at the same time, I think this is morally amazing. This is really, really good. This is justice for America, and all the people whom Iran has directly been responsible for murdering.
Tens of thousands of people just over the last couple months for resisting the regime.
Yeah, and not just the Iranians, but the Americans and other innocent people around the world for over 4 decades.
Yeah.
That's really good morally. So something that we should have done a long time ago. But considering who the clown that we have in office,
coming back to who it is, who's actually the president.
This is really bad for us in terms of our freedom.
It's
as Americans.
Yeah, it's both of those things can be true and are true. I've got to say hi to Andrea. Hello, Andrea. It's good to see you in the chat on the Facebook side. And Jim, who says Trump now says actual warfare in Iran may last 4 weeks.
Yes,
which
mission accomplished.
Jim says, reminds me of W. Bush's premature banner on the aircraft carrier, mission accomplished.
Yes.
I don't think 4 weeks would be premature. I don't know why it would take 4 weeks to do this. But obviously, El Presidente, Mr. Apprentice, has more information on that than I do. Yeah. So what I would say about it is simply, we do have the right to take this action, given the actions that have been taken against the United States.
Yes.
Not just America. A lot of people are saying American interests, American interests. Screw American interests. American interests are never a valid reason to go bomb people and kill people. No, we have the right to do this because American individuals, American people, yes, American property, but the people on that property, whether it's our military bases or anywhere else. And just go back to the hostage crisis in 1979, and the fact that those same incursions have been going on for years since then. Sure, we've got the right to do it, but what you've got the right to do and what it is right to do, to put American lives and American dollars, what people like to call American treasure, lives and treasure on the line. Is it right to do that? And the short answer is it's impossible to say. The longer answer is it's impossible to say. But the real long answer is...
I see what you did there.
The real long answer is that if we are considering the full context, if we are taking the long view, then yes. The problem is, if this could be, should be, can be a just war, problem is you need a president who can make that point. And I don't mean sell it to the American people. I mean actually explain to the American people, to show the American people, to tell the American people this is why this is just.
Yes.
This is why this is right.
And more in terms of the morality of this situation.
But we have a president who brags, who boasts of being non-ideological.
Or really non-moral. And
well, I don't want to rephrase it. I want to keep using his words.
Yeah,
non-ideological, non-philosophical, and pragmatic. And for some of you, pragmatic just means practical. No, practical is the short version, non-principled, unprincipled.
Yes.
And he's proud of that. And his fans are proud of that. And
for him to... he recently got up and I think his one speech talking about the history of Iran and the grievances that we have against them, morally justified grievances.
Good.
But when he went on to say, "Oh yes, and there's going to be some casualties," and then he just kind of waved that away.
Yeah, I have to hear it because you told me that before, and it doesn't sound like a problem to me. But I guess there was something in his tone or style.
Yeah, but the thing is that with Donald Trump, you have to ask yourself, what is he getting out of this? In the kind of, and I know that sounds, I think in this case it's absolutely appropriate to ask this question because a lot of people say, well, it's the motivation. It sounds very conspiratorial or something, but no. This is a character who can't really see beyond his own hand that's holding so many billions of dollars in it.
Do you think anybody doesn't do that, though? I think we all take that calculation into account. Anything good that comes out of the present administration is despite the president's personal character.
In considering all of his other rationalizations for what he does, I think it's fair to say that this is a distraction for him that he needs so that people can't keep talking about other things.
I think that's one element of it, but I don't think that's the important thing.
I think it's important in this sense that we have an actor in the White House that is he's not competent to be in the position that he's in, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And there are reasons why he's doing things that he's doing, and some of them may sound good. Some of them, in terms of short-term practicality, might sound good. But this is an unhinged person.
Well,
and it is.
I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't think that it is. Just obliterates everything else about the context.
I know. I'm not trying to say that it obliterates all of the other thing about the context, but I just think that I need to keep bringing that up because...
Why? I mean, once you've said it once or twice, why?
Because the method is consistent here. And in order to try to predict what he's going to be doing next, which might be taco, which might be Trump always chickens out.
Yep.
It could be a number of things. He could completely call it off and say, okay, I would like to come to the table of the other Iranian leaders and make a deal. So who knows? It's a complete wild card, and it's awfully sad. Yeah. I think, and honestly, I really think that the fact that the Iranians were in the streets, as they should have been, celebrating,
yes,
but yelling, "We love Trump! We love Trump!" And the kind of reception that he has gotten from the Iranian people is such a strange thing to see, because of course he's going to act in their self-interest if they're showing him love and respect and admiration, and that is the way to get him to do what you want him to do. And that is not a that is a dangerous situation to have a man like that as the president of the United States. There's a really excellent write-up by Nick Provenzo, who hopefully in the future we can interview, because he's a really great guy. We've been fans of his for decades, and I believe he has a Substack, Nicholas Provenzo. And the way that he ended his one article recently says, supporting freedom abroad does not mean abandoning law at home. Only a nation that governs itself by law can credibly defend liberty beyond its borders. And the way things are going in this country, there's so many things that are opposed to individual rights that this president is enacting. It is absolutely contrary and ironic that he is claiming that he's helping out the Iranian people when I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he has banned any Iranians to immigrate to the United States of America. So, which is it? Are they good people who, deserve to be liberated? Or are they murderers who you want to shut out from the borders? Yeah. So anyway, there's all sorts of absurdities going on here, and it's really unfortunate because really we really should be celebrating the fact that the Ayatollah Khomeini is now metaphysically challenged, and he is now at room temperature, as they say, and good for the Iranian people. And we do know some Iranian people. A lot of them are atheists, so some of them are objectivists, and we wish them the very, very best. And yeah, so there's my nuanced take of this. Yes, Robert, I know you're blown away by that. What do we have?
No, I guess that says it all. Yeah. So with that said, folks.
Yeah, oh, one other thing I want to say is that I know a lot of us are on Facebook and we're trying to debate each other and trying to grapple with these issues. I'll say this. Like this show, like how we started out with this show, values are primary. And if you are finding yourself in rabbit holes on Facebook or elsewhere where you feel like you're sacrificing your time, just remind yourself that you don't have to be there. You don't have to be helping other people with their ideas. You don't have to be, it's not your responsibility to change anybody's mind. And it's not your responsibility to answer anybody if they are antagonistic towards you. Try not to use Facebook that way. Try to use it as a value-oriented platform, and compliment each other. And if you see something that somebody says that you really appreciate, let them know that you appreciate them, because that's what life should be about.
Yes. Yeah, war has been described by several people. I know Rush Limbaugh used to say, war is for killing people and breaking things. And there's some truth to that in our very premise that values are primary. And war doesn't produce values. There are people who claim that a wartime economy made us more productive in some ways, but the net result of all of that is necessarily negative. Read the book Economics in One Lesson, or just look up broken window fallacy to realize that whatever make work you think you're making happen, you are causing more destruction than production in that kind of context. So the idea that war is about breaking things and killing people, there's some truth to it. But the point is that a war in the present context can be an answer to injustice. Watch the videos of the people in the streets of Iran celebrating. Or consider why not even necessarily the United States, but a country like Israel would look to eliminate the theocratic leadership of a country like Iran. Or just watch the videos of what women have suffered through in Iran. The ones who are still alive, besides the 20 to 30,000 who have been killed in the last just several months, and just for protesting against the current theocratic regime. If it is possible to liberate, to put in a secular, somewhat rights-respecting government in a country like Iran, if that can happen, if that does happen, it could be a miracle. It could be extraordinary. It could be amazing. And it could set a precedent for other nations and let them know that individual rights are the future of any country that wants to be part of the civilized world. What are the odds of that in Iran, especially given, as Amy would be quick to interrupt me and point out, the person who is leading that effort, at least from the United States point of view, and I have my criticisms of Benjamin Netanyahu as well. Okay, that doesn't help with the odds of that happening, but it could happen. It might happen, and I hope that it will happen. And certainly when and if I speak out, that will be what I will be welcoming and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And values are primary. As I say, it is more important to build a house than it's more of something to celebrate the building of a house than the knocking down of one.
Mm-hmm.
What they are fighting for in Iran is liberty, freedom, and what that can do for a country. There's a reason why the United States, one of the newest nations, if you look at the long-standing greatest nations in history, countries like England or China or Russia, a relatively new country, we celebrate our 250th year this year. Why has such a new country outstripped the entire rest of the world in productivity, but also in inventions, creations? And despite some exceptions that are arguably owing to the United States as well, standard of living. Why are we the freest? Oh, wait, that last question answers all of the rest of them. When you unleash human, not just ingenuity or initiative, the human faculty of reason, when you let people think and then take action based on their thinking, you get the United States of America. And to the extent that what we are doing now, what is happening now, can make more of that freedom, more of that liberty, more of that independent thought and action possible in a country that was, at least for a while, once secular, once modern, once relatively free, possible? My stand is I hope that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, thank you for joining us. We got unusually political, unusually current eventsy in the latter third of the show.
Spicy.
Spicy. The takeaway again is values are primary. Apply that to your life. Don't get too hung up on the news of the day, but do follow things, stay aware, be worldly and wise. But most important, appreciate your values. You can criticize the ne'er-do-wells when they deserve it, but really that's trivial, and treat it as if it's trivial. What really matters is you and living your own best life. Whether it's your amazing, magnificent achievements, or some amazing concert that you saw, or sports event that you saw, or event that you participated in, or even your general day-to-day goodness. Getting your job done, keeping a good home, appreciating your values. And as much as anything else, no, more than anything else, appreciating the people in your lives. Hopefully one-on-one in your real lives, but also, long distance. Family, friends who you know only by telephone or email, or even complete strangers who you now know because of the internet, the World Wide Web, social media, your Substack, your Facebook, whatever your indulgences are. There is no end of values out there, and all of that comes from people. Get you a big piece of it, a big chunk of that. Appreciate that about the people around you and appreciate it about yourselves. Folks, we ran a little bit long, so I will wrap up by saying thank you for joining us.
And thank you for all the compliments that are coming in on the chat.
Super sweet. You really are the best audience in podcasting, y'all. That you can come and participate in, be part of a conversation like this, means the world to us. We wouldn't do this if nobody was watching, if nobody was listening. You make it all worth it. And that is why we wish you all of the success that you so rightly deserve. If you're not getting that success that you deserve yet, keep at it. It's going to happen. And do stand up for yourself. Toot your horn. Blow your whistle. Squeak your own wheel. Because you deserve it. Because you are marvelous. And that is why, on top of everything else, We wish you love.